So at this time, it's 7:01. I'm going to call the Candor Central School District Board of Education meeting to order. And we begin with the oath of allegiance for new or re-elected members. So I'll read it. If you agree to it, I'll ask you to sign it. We'll move forward. I do hereby pledge and declare that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution of the State of New York, and I will faithfully discharge my duties of the position of Board of Education member according to the best of my ability. And here's one for you to sign. Thank you. Yeah, welcome to the board. We can begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Kind of save for just another moment where the first order of business is reorganization, election of officers. And do I have a motion?
I would like to nominate Nate Price for president.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And for vice president?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, do we have to vote on that?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Got that.
Just read the script.
Got
It's
all
always
excited.
right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations. And do we have a nomination for vice president?
I'll nominate Hannah so she can help keep me in line.
I don't think that's a challenge. That's good.
Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Brace, I'll hand the meeting over to you. What's that? Oh, they both have to sign this? That's it. All right. They have to read it. You both have the question. So. It's the exact same. Name and president. There's a name, you have to write your name.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
President, and then we're good. And clerk, you also have to sign that. And then you. Okay.
The 10th.
Yes, one day. 2 hours stretch.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. While she runs through that, I think the only thing we have to address on here are the scholarship committee members, correct? It's the
Correct,
only open item.
Yeah.
And for Jess and Greg, normally every year we do this where they have scholarship committees to kind of run through where they'll get awarded to as seniors. Typically a board member will sit on the ones here. It's on page 4 of this document. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scholarship committees, one of which I sit on as a president along with another board member. Normally we just kind of see if anybody has a preference. In years past, some folks may have a connection with the memorial scholarships or things like that. Otherwise, we just kind of go down the list and assign somebody to it. Jason Banks does the bulk of the legwork, and him and Leslie coordinates, just kind of scheduling with whoever the committee member will be and work with you guys to sit in. So does anybody have any major preferences that they'll sit in on? Now I'll do like we normally do and just kind of go down the path.
He was on one, we thought he was on one last year and he either wasn't on it or didn't get to go. So he should, he should get one.
You should get one. Hope you get one because he's not here.
Yeah. Yes.
So he's got free time. Do you have a preference, Greg, or no?
No, but if you want to throw me into Jansen,
Okay.
that's fine.
No, no worries.
I would recommend Hope for the franchise team.
Yep, I'm good with that. Jess, Greg, if you guys are good, I'll select you. Do you want me to just put your name down on, put on the list? And then Hannah and Kate can argue over the last one.
So the second one, they typically, like, maybe that's the one that I was in on it as president last year, but then there wasn't another board member. They forgot to,
Adam,
yeah.
for the Jets, I'll put you down for the Dallas K. Martin. Greg, I'll put you down for the Maurice Marks one. Yeah, I'll give you your options. Okay, I'll put you down. That way, if they only call me, then you're getting out too. You have that? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I think that's everything on here. All the other details are kind of based off of last year. Did anything drastically change or really even change at all on this one? And so a lot of this is just kind of setting the school district up and getting ready for the school year and things like that. Not a lot that we have. Obviously, we're involved in those scholarship reviews, but everything else is pretty much boilerplate for school business and the way things run year after year. So
I just asked a clarifying question.
Yeah.
Did anybody speak with Hope?
Yes.
Okay, so she did.
Yep. She's like, yeah.
she being volunteered for something.
Yeah, both he's born.
Okay. All right, perfect. That makes it easier. Okay. There's no other questions. Motion to accept the authorizations for the 2024-2025 school year.
I make motion.
Anyone second?
Second.
That's great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So we'll do that one. Brings us on to the next item, the CSE reports. Those are ones that they send us that we don't talk about in public session. If we have questions, we can always reach out, or we have executive sessions afterward to review any of the details in them, because we don't have any kind of personal conversations during the public board meeting. So during this section, we just make approvals of the content that's in it, saying that we reviewed it, we approve it, we don't have any other questions or concerns with it. So for those, I just take a motion to accept the reports as presented to the board. We
Pass it down, and then we
Yeah.
give them back.
have a motion to accept it.
No, we didn't accept that.
Thank you.
Anybody, did somebody move? Kate did, all right.
I did.
Anybody second? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Yes, I
And
apologize
that's
for the
including-
snap who it's only the front page. And I also, 18 pages isn't typical, so that's. End of the year.
Some months are heavier than others.
Yep.
It's Only heavier than most.
Thank you.
but- Okay, then the next item we review is the meeting minutes, from last month's meeting. They get sent to us for review, just to confirm we don't see any typos, errors, anything like that. So if you have any comments, generally, we try to get the feedback to them ahead of time so we can make updates, but if not, no big deal. We'll just make sure that they get updated before they go public after we approve them. So did anybody find anything, issues with month's meeting minutes?
Well, I abstain. So I don't vote.
It's your choice.
You don't have to. Yeah, you can, you don't have to. At the end of the day, we'll need enough to approve it, so. So if there's nothing, no comments on it, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
That's great. And a second.
I should probably abstain. I was here as a guest
You
last
can still,
time,
you
but I
can
was
still
not.
go, all it is really just confirming that the content aligned to what was, so
Okay.
even as a guest, that's still fine. You were here, you were engaged, you heard, so it's not necessarily a game breaker, because there's been years past where I'm watching on the live stream and then I still know what's going on, so I'll still vote on it. So you don't have to abstain, you're just really confirming that you agree that the content is correct, and you don't see any errors with it, so.
Okay.
So. Okay, go ahead, second.
A second.
Thanks, Hannah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Okay. We'll move on to the warrants. Yeah, and since we have a couple of new folks, for this one, we review these each individually, kind of as a group. Again, we get them ahead of time so we can ask questions if we have any. You can absolutely come and ask questions at the meeting. No big deal. If you have anything in here that you want to ask the administrative team about, get clarification on, things like that. So we review them individually, but we approve them as a group. So after we go through all four of these budget sheets, we'll go back and approve them as a whole group. So that's what we do with these. The first one is the general fund, which generally has the most content in it, because it's where all the primary expenditures are coming out of the district for various expenses for the school. And then we'll have the federal fund, school lunch fund, and capital fund to do afterward. So,
Nate, if I can jump in, because I did get a couple of questions. I
Yeah, no
appreciate that you called that. And the first one, I didn't have the answer right on the top of my head. It was on page 2 of the general fund, under business administration materials and supplies, the lifetime purchase. And I didn't remember, but I do now. We bought new tables. If you were at the strategic planning meeting, those folding tables that we used and worked so well in the cafeteria, we got a good deal on them, and we bought those for both buildings, so we can use them for more comfortable faculty meetings or other events throughout the school. But with that, the other question I got that I thought I knew off the top of my head and I answered incorrectly, was on the collagen. How are you?
A little damp in certain areas. My car windows were left down. Oh, no. But I've taken care of all the moisture in my seat. At least that's the story I'm gonna stick with. Welcome.
And it was noted that the collagen bill we got was higher. And I said, oh, must be the water softener, because that's what it was last time I had that question. Then when I went back and looked, in fact, it wasn't. This month, just the way the deliveries happened, we got 2 months worth of bill in 1 month.
But we only put you on one scholarship. We were merciful. Usually if you're not here, you know.
yeah, we could.
Thank God. Got here just in time.
There are no other questions on the general fund. We'll go on to the federal fund. Well, you have any questions on that one?
This is the end of our Vanessa or September? Is this the end? When is the final on the COVID money? Is it August?
Some of the money goes through September, I think some ends August and then September.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
So, like,
The big chunk will be spent.
Okay. No other questions? We go on to the school lunch fund. Well, On to that, capital fund.
Just a note on the cafeteria, there's a lot more parents who know that they can get their money back than usual. That's great. Usually you only see 1 or 2 seniors who, their parents get their cafeteria money back. So this is an informed group. That's great.
Anything on the capital fund? Right, if not, take a motion to accept the warrants. Thanks, Kate. Wait a second.
Well, I will if nobody else will.
That's what's trying down there. We'll
Oh,
give it- All those in favor? Any opposed? Good. All right. So the next part we get to is recognition of visitors. A lot today, other than Mr. Fairley. This is generally where usually Jess on the other side of the table. This is where we give them an opportunity. There's another one at the end of the meeting to bring forward any comments, questions, concerns on their side of things. So with that, Mr. Fairley, if you have anything you wanted to add today.
I do. I have 3 short comments for tonight's reorganizational meeting. First, on behalf of the Candor Faculty Association, sorry, I need to introduce myself. Neil Farley, president of the Candor Faculty Association. On behalf of CFA, I'd like to extend a welcome to our 2 newest members of the board, Mr. Evans and Ms. Facio. It takes a special person to stand for any election and to put yourself out there to serve a community in this capacity. Thank you for joining this group and their commitment to the kids of the district. Thank you. Second, for the entire board, I want to bring your attention to some obligations you as a board have with regard to making significant discussion at our school board meetings. I'm talking about this because over the last year, as I attended meetings, I've seen some things that I think are missing that probably should be added. Public officials and open meetings law require that documents be made available to the public prior to meetings and that they also be made available online on the district website. There have been several times over the last year that those of us attending as visitors and guests have been a little bit confused when the board is discussing or voting on an issue. We've occasionally whispered to each other, do you know what they're talking about? And most times we don't. The New York State School Boards Association has provided guidance on this issue for nearly a decade. When I review the agenda of the district in which I live, the amount of disclosure is pretty large in comparison to what we typically do here. For example, items that typically be on the consent agenda, most of the financial documents would be available. Thankfully for my administrative colleagues, their narrative reports would not be, but they certainly could be. That's up to you. Each of you has shown a commitment to transparency and accountability, and I know you're hungry for more public participation. And I think in this respect, we can up our game with this. I have for you a quick reference sheet. I am a librarian. I have a reference sheet that quotes the appropriate sections of the law and 2 guidance departments from the New York State School Boards Association. I can give those to you now or Mrs. Hinkle at the end. And then third, just at the beginning of the new year, I do want to extend an invitation to each of you to engage me or any other teacher or frankly, any employee in any conversation about our experience here. You live in a close community where it is easy to speak or otherwise communicate with any of us. And you do. And I encourage you to do so as much as you can. As for me, in my capacity, I'll always be glad to talk with any of you as a librarian here in the high school, as the representative of my association, or a person who just necessarily thinks about what happens when the rubber hits the road when it comes to your choices on programs, policies, finances, student experiences, and really everything there. It's just an open invitation, really anytime. You know, I come to most of these board meetings and I'm always available before or after. And certainly by phone or email here at school. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. With that, we move on to the next line item on the agenda, which is the consent agenda. And for that, kind of like the warrants, we get everything as one packet that we approve as a whole versus doing anything individually. So, again, these are kind of the appointments within the district, any changes within, faculty and staff. You'll see some new, memorandums of understanding for some of the different administrative contracts and things like that. So this is really us approving kind of the business of the district and how things are run. And again, it's open to questions. If we have any prior to approval, we have an opportunity to strip things out if we want to and consider them separately, or drive further discussion on them if we want to. But if there's nothing that we care to do that with, we approve it as a whole. So with that, anybody have any questions on the consent agenda side?
Yes, I have a question on item 9.13. The discard of Candor Indian merchandise. I would like to offer an amendment to the proposal, if I may.
Should we do that or pull it for separate consideration and treat it separately?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. How would,
So I make a motion to separate item 9.13 for additional discussion.
Yeah.
A second.
thanks, Hannah. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, with that, we'll pull out 9.13. Do we have any other questions or concerns with 9.1 through 9.12? It goes to 9.14, I'm sorry. So we'll pull out 9.13 addition, it goes up to 9.14. So with that, do I make a motion to accept first and then discuss it afterward?
I'm sorry, I missed the
Right. Yeah, so with that, if there's no other questions, there a motion to accept 9.1 through 9.12 and 9.14.
Wait, what's 9.14? Because that wasn't on our original.
So it got emailed to us, they brought it in
Okay,
separately
so
as
that's
the handout,
The
it's the
new
textbook request,
Okay,
for medical terminology.
okay, so I do have a question. I'm just wondering why that's included, how that's different than other purchases that are on like the general fund that just get approved, and why this came to us to vote on it specifically, why that's different.
You should know, need to approve all textbooks.
Okay, but it doesn't.
So you have the things that purchase on the general fund, you're not really approving the purchase or not. It's operational, that's the administration, the archive. What we need to run the district. We're really giving us the oversight, improving how we're doing our job. How the funds are being spent, but not with the textbook that's separate, you're approving the material.
Okay.
It's addition into the curriculum.
It's, yeah. But it'd be just, it would come into, you know, if we had a new textbook.
Yeah, you'll see textbook requests come through just like this throughout the year for
Okay.
that reason.
So most textbooks aren't terribly controversial or anything. This board has had books that have come that they put aside to give the board members time to read. So they, yeah, you know, again, this one I don't think would be a medical terminology.
Yeah, that's an app, like,
You know,
there were board members that would either read it ahead of time, take an opportunity to do that, sometimes accept. Throughout the years, there's been some that are a little more controversial than others, so as a board member, we have that
And
Option
in
two.
this case, it is a required text for TC3.
Correct. Yes, yeah.
Right, so as soon as you're gonna get the class, or get the credits, the college credits. Right.
Thanks for.
No problem. Try one more time. Any other questions? Everything except 9.13. If not, motion to accept.
So
Thanks, Hope. Second, Kate. All those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Okay. So now we'll circle back to section 9.13. It's in relation to the discard and or auction of the various Candor Indian merchandise. So what are your thoughts on it?
so my thought on this, I appreciate the letter that you put together. And I think the sentiment is good. I think my personal opinion, looking at this, is that I would recommend that any of these items that bear either the Indian head insignia or actually has the word Indians written on it, just be discarded. And any items that don't bear that be donated. I think we've given enough, there's enough items already floating out in the community that bear the historical representation. I don't think we need to add any further to that. Including the fact that we did offer up some items to the Historical Society as well.
Right, so that's what we're talking about, but they haven't come over and actually got items that I know of. I hope they haven't, because we have to discard it first.
Right, but didn't we have the floor piece from the
So
gymnasium?
they don't have that yet, because this has to happen first, so they don't physically have it. So the first step would be to say, the district has no use for it, we're not using it, so that's discarded. And then how do we dispose of it? And that's what I understand, that's exactly what you're talking about. Right. It's maybe not a good idea to auction it. If it has that being. Okay, so which is different than my recommendation. Right. My feeling is there's people can use, and some people respectfully really value. I don't think it's gonna make a difference in our budget, it's not like I'm trying to make money. But it makes sense to me to give some people that opportunity. And I also think even the imagery, the imagery, is there, and that's why, we have to cross. To some degree, we have to express our feeling now, and that it needs to be, but it's out there, it's out there. So I understand what you're saying, and I'm really happy for the discussion. My recommendation is that, no, other than really having it destroyed, like in the incinerator, I didn't really know how to get, people have these kind of interests with good hopes and good intentions. That think, okay, how are we going to decide that? Where and this seemed like there's like very little done. I did have a suggestion that I might bring up that entertain that some of it be donated to our booster public. They can't use it themselves, but maybe let them make money because it will come directly back. So I think that's an idea that there's, I'm certainly looking. What do we do?
None of our athletic departments wanted any of these items that didn't have imagery on them.
Oh, if we can still use it, we're still using it. There's nothing.
Well, more like practice jerseys or in the gym for extra clothes, kids,
That,
stuff like that. I don't know.
but,
I just feel,
right, I do understand it.
I mean, what are you gonna do? The
And
youth, none of the youth.
They're not.
I think
they're not
everything that
even
went through
considered- I know.
we're not even.
Like legally, I don't.
And there's
Here's the
only a
comment.
handful of things that don't have anything on them.
Right. I think how we went through pretty much everything here.
Yeah, it has an arrow.
You may not see it in the picture, but everything that we could still use, we're still using. The stuff that's on this list, there's a reason.
I mean, there's a couple things that just say Candor, but they probably have a small arrow.
By the description, it says.
Yeah. Arrow on the back. Blue shorts,
They must have the. No?
blue shorts.
Okay. Oh, yeah, blue shirts, blue shirts.
That's it.
Blue cheer skirt, yeah.
So I guess I'm of the opinion that if somebody really cares about that imagery, they probably already have items that bear that imagery. Why, as a board, should we continue to perpetuate it? Let's just trash it and move forward.
I don't know that, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't know that is representative of the whole community, you know, I think there could be some blowback, honestly, in some really, they don't understand us sentiment.
Disrespectful to the
To the
to the
history,
history, or that it's wasteful.
both,
A little bit of both.
There'll be a lot of people that say, we paid.
yeah.
Right.
I like.
Which is fine, but I feel it's important that
I also.
both sides are being
I do too.
presented in the conversation. I understand that it is not the majority of opinion,
Mhm.
but it does bear being
Yep.
discussed.
No, it's fair.
Yeah, I think it's more than that. Honestly, I think it's hard to be, take that's a position that's not gonna be popular with everybody. And I also know there are people that are very strongly like. Some of them as well. It's a good discussion. Right now, my recommendation for reasons is the same, and I would say a lot more guidance for, do we let the each department handle it? And maybe, you know, not cover. It's a nice gesture, like, people just probably appreciate it, and it does come really very directly back to students. It's hard for us to manage this money if we got, it'd be hundreds of dollars. It would be extra, it would show up in our report as extra revenues, and it would be in the general fund. Some people. And then piecing out, well, does it go to basketball or an merge team, or if it would get. Yeah, so, well, they should. They could. Students. I almost said they can, but they could, but I think it'd be more appropriate if we're going to be that it does.
So I think Jessica made a good suggestion that I could potentially get on board with.
We could donate items to the children's building closet across the street.
It's mostly adult size.
Yeah,
I don't have no idea.
They do go through teens over there.
If we did do the auction,
Like, go ahead.
with everything included, and then you use that money to buy Coyotes merchandise, then it's kind of a no-brainer, because I'm sure there's people in this community that have been here their whole life that have identified as that mascot, as that. They've spent their whole formative years coming up as that. I'm sure they're so proud of the emblem and the mascot that they were part of growing up their whole life. And so I think that some people would be offended and upset if we just trashed it. I think that they are so proud of that, where they came from. I think that would be cool to auction it and then turn around and buy or have it available for Coyotes merch, or donate the money to the children's closet.
And I'll throw in another idea. Why not give it to the Alumni Association? It's the graduates who really are, you know, kind of hurting because their Indians have been sent Trail of Tears. So, but I mean, that's, you know, that's another group that really like something to,
It might help them.
just
Which would be.
a thought.
I think it would be hard to have the money come back to the school. Because
Okay.
then what do you buy?
Right.
Right.
You
That's what I
decide
think. The only thing I
cheer,
could think
football,
of is-
basketball.
Right, it would, yeah.
Textbooks.
I mean, I love
But
that.
that's, if it went to the general fund, it really just gets
Reused.
other, you know.
It pays the Pelican bill.
It shows up. Yes.
The Pelican.
All good. So if I can make,
like, could the booster club give it away, like, have it out and
But once we go into that, right?
then they decide
Then-
who donated it?
So here's what I'm gonna suggest, is that we go ahead and make a motion to, deem it not of value to the school. And then I will not discard any of it without bringing it back to the board. Because I want to talk to these groups of, and then so I can tell you exactly what they're asking for and and how it's being dispersed. Does that make sense? And then anything that's not a really good organization to, to do the right thing with it, then we'll have to talk about that's left. Do we track what's left, or do we auction it? Or
It's who wants
the first couple steps. What's that?
who wants the Lord's hospital banner that happens to have.
Yeah. I'm hoping that by that point, it just makes sense to discard it, simply discard what's all.
I have two tangential questions. I know over some holiday, there was the Facebook feed about, oh, they're giving away old trophies. How did that, because I'm thinking that didn't come across our,
It did. So that was a surprise to me when I was at the alumni luncheon. So they had it there. They had some that they had in their closet for years that were very old. And I didn't know they were in their closet at one point. And I asked about it. He explained to me once there was a whole wall, case of wall. And when that came down, it was all given to the alumni. It was before me, right? They put them in their closet. Sitting there fucking dust. And again, I don't know what
Somebody
year.
approved that
Right,
at one
that's
time.
exactly.
It's a donation to the alumni.
Or they were just deemed unuseful and no determination what has to be made disposed of.
Right.
You really don't. Just decide, it's no use to the district, leave it all.
Yeah.
But, so that's my guess. When the folks came out, they had no space for it.
I think the individuals were contacted as well. Now, if there were individual names and individual trophies, I think we want the trophy.
and then I guess the second piece, we kind of started to circle back, the floor pieces and whatever stuff that the society may want. That'll have to come before us later.
I want to let you know, again, you could say, man, we don't want to vote on it. You can tell me that we it's no longer valuable to the district. It's your job to dispose of it. That's operational. We don't know. But I think you do want to know. So I'll come back after I meet with these organizations and say, this, and this is what the Historical Society has asked for. Are you okay with it? This is what the Booster Club thinks they can use and how to use it. And this is what the Alumni Association does. Again, I do think no matter how we handle it, you're gonna hear about it. So that's why I want to make sure you really want to start. We're not getting rid of, old paperback books here.
Right, and no, it just seemed like there were items that are beyond the scope of this list.
Yeah, the floor I didn't put in, because I know it's. Well,
It's a floor, yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
This is what, how we put this together, what the athletic department, and there may be more stuff that we find later.
I appreciate that, because I think, like I said, people find things it's topic. So it somehow finds its way.
Happy to call the question and make a motion. Okay.
Well, I was gonna say, after all that discussion, we pulled it out. I think we're still in agreement as far as the way it's written, and if there aren't any additional conversations on it, I'll take a motion to accept section 9.13 as written. Consent agenda.
So moved.
Thanks, Greg. Second. Do a second. Thanks, Katie. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstained? Good on that one. So that moves us past, section 9, the consent agenda, which brings us to section 10 for board comments. Again, for the new members, this is really our opportunity to bring anything else up we want, any comments, questions, concerns we have for the administrators or the teams. This is just kind of our opportunity to add anything at the end. So I'll open it up to anybody that has questions or comments.
Normally the administrative reports that happen first, that we get to hear, so that's the best part.
Right.
Get to hear what's actually happening on the ground.
Typically, prior to this, all of the high school principal, anybody that's in an administrative role is invited to bring a report. Kind of run through what's going on within their area of expertise for the month. So those are always fun to hear. As far as board comments, I appreciate you guys trusting me to be the president this year. Looking forward to it and work together to get through another school year.
I'm there bringing strength and wisdom. Jessica certainly has been with us for sitting over there, but welcome aboard.
Thank you. I'm excited to be on this side and work on that side still. And
And welcome, welcome.
I will plug the PTSA has their monthly meeting on August 20th to start gearing up, and then we'll start taking membership for the next school year. Keep that in mind.
And I just wanted to congratulate new, I'm not gonna get the new directors. Yes, that's very exciting, and it's, I know that kind of came out of strategic planning in part, and it's really exciting stuff that we're gonna be able to have that additional focus on curriculum. That's, I'm feeling good, interesting one too, very exciting.
Added a couple years of life to Kim.
I'm back. No, but thank you for this. It's for the kids first, right? And if we can support the teachers and each other as best we can.
I just want to thank the administrators for continuing to do a great work filling open positions. It's nice to see that we are consistently bringing new people in, that we're not seeing a lot of gaps in our staffing as we rapidly approach a new school year. So that is to be commended.
Anybody else? If not, we circle back to recognition visitors one more time. Anything else to add? Thank you.
Because I didn't give a book report, you just want to comment on the capital project. City made in the last few weeks and days. Been very hot. They haven't slowed down. You know, concerned about staying on schedule and we're right back on schedule with a little ahead and get too ahead of myself. I know the weather can change, but the track and it's going.
The goal is to homecoming.
No, so you missed the last meeting. Monday I went back. Was really hoping to have a game here. I already talked to Spencer Van Etten, they were okay with that. Here, homecoming here. I was concerned about the field not being ready. Landscape architect said, it should be ready. But now that we're a little closer on and the drainage system did a little more ripping up than they had hoped, it's attractive.
That's.
Yeah, well, we'll still have a homecoming game, but it's coming here.
We'll need for an executive session or anything today.
Oh,
With that,
We'll play in the
we are
pubs.
adjourned. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. They don't all end this quickly.
I get excited.